It's a huge wall. In fact, two walls of a hall.
This whole work, इसमें आप settlements read नहीं कर रहे हैं, आप अभी सिर्फ इसके religious affiliations को read कर रहे हैं.
Right. This is sort of because the next to the this particular structure which we excavated, there's a stupa again, the Buddhist stupa. So this is sort of a religious site. So settlement is a different area at the site. We believe that there is an area definitely on the site which is a settlement area because the iron nails are huge and we have found it in good quantity also. So that signifies that the superstructure has perished and then
nails are there.
Iron nails have remained.
You think कि अगर उसमें excavations और हो जाएंगे तो we can have idea of religious affiliation of the site also?
That's very important. Re-excavate this site, and because this site is one of the internationally recognized sites within the whole Himalayan region, so we need to excavate it once more. At least. Kashmir was a very much at the center of everything.
Yes.
For example, trade and many other reasons. Inland trade to Kashmir se hi hua karta tha. So every commodity for trade came to Kashmir and then from Kashmir to the
it was
Silk
major
Route. It was. So we try to understand Kashmir from the core region perspective rather than as a periphery. The Persian king has been shown one of the tiles of the Harvan, holding a sword and killing a griffin. That is a celebrated image across Persia, ancient Persia. So that has been found in Kashmir. This shows the cosmopolitan character of the Kashmir. That photograph was very important for me. And then, when I saw that photograph, I realized that what we look at the site right now is more than what the photograph says. Photograph was one of the reasons that I concluded that the site is very rich and needs to be excavated.
कश्मीरी होने के नाते मैं ये भी जानना चाहूँगा कि जो भी आप लोगों ने अभी तक डिस्कवरीज की है उनमें कहीं ऐसा कोई स्क्रिप्ट मिला जो कश्मीरी में लिखा हो?
There are multiple sources telling us that there were many other scholars from different regions, like from Korea. There was a person
So I hope some North Korea से तो कोई नहीं आया था.
So any dialogue on Buddhism should start from Kashmir.
अस्सलाम वालेकुम, आदाब. मीरास पॉडकास्ट के शुमारे में आपका खैर मकदम है. आज हमारे स्टूडियो में एक अहम शख्सियत मौजूद है जो जम्मू कश्मीर की तवारीख के उन पन्नों को जानते हैं जो शायद ही हम लोग जानते हैं. मेरे साथ हैं डॉक्टर अजमल शाह साहब. ही इज़ असिस्टेंट प्रोफेसर ऑफ आर्कियोलॉजी जो यूनिवर्सिटी ऑफ कश्मीर के सेंटर फॉर सेंट्रल एशियन स्टडीज़ में काम करते हैं. अजमल साहब, आपका बहुत बहुत खैर मकदम है. आपने अपना वक्त दिया और आज हम जानना चाहेंगे कि जम्मू कश्मीर की तवारीख इट्स अ वेरी लेयर्ड और काफ़ी ज़्यादा कम लोगों को ही इस तवारीख के बारे में जानकारी है, क्योंकि किताबों में बहुत कुछ आता है लेकिन बहुत कुछ ऐसा भी है जो शायद ही किताबों में है. और आज हम उसी तवारीख को आपसे जानना चाहेंगे जो हमारी किताबों में अभी मौजूद नहीं है.
थैंक यू.
बिफोर गेटिंग इनटू द डिटेल्स, आप जो आर्कियोलॉजी वाला काम है आपका, जिसमें एक्सकेवेशंस होती हैं, कश्मीर के पास्ट को समझने का जो काम आपने जिम्मा लिया है और लोगों को समझाने का काम जो जिम्मा लिया है, उसमें जाने से पहले वी वुड लाइक यू टू टेक अस थ्रू योर अर्ली लाइफ and what triggered you, what convinced you to become an archaeologist?
Basically, I belong to बांडीपोरा. वहाँ से बांडीपोरा से थोड़ी दूर एक गांव है कोयल मुकाम, वहाँ से मैं बिलोंग करता हूँ. और मेरी अर्ली एजुकेशन जो हुई है वहाँ से ही हुई. अपने लोकल जो स्कूल है, रूमी पब्लिक स्कूल हुआ करता था उस टाइम. सो वहाँ से मेरी स्कूलिंग हुई, अर्ली स्कूलिंग. लेटर ऑन मेरे फादर की जो ड्यूटी थी वो बारामूला में थी, तो वी शिफ्टेड टू बारामूला एंड देन ऑनवर्ड्स मेरी स्कूलिंग बारामूला में ही हुई है. नूरुल इस्लाम स्कूल हुआ करता था वहाँ पे. एंड देन फ्रॉम देयर आई went back to Bandipora for higher secondary level 10+2, and after that I graduated from Sopo Degree College. Simple arts subjects लिए हुए थे. History was one of the subjects. वहाँ से ही थोड़ा archaeology के साथ थोड़ा टच रहा, because I used to conduct these field trips for the students in college. And after that, I got admission in Masters in History in Kashmir University, Department of History in Kashmir University. But to some extent, I was not fit for the just theoretical, history.
Okay.
So I wanted to see in depth the practical part of it. And somehow, कहीं से मुझे इंटरनेट तो बहुत कम हुआ करता था उन दिनों, सो कहीं से मुझे ये पता चला कि देयर इज़ ए one of the reputed South Asian colleges of archaeology, Deccan College, Pune.
Okay.
So it's a very well-known college. That time it was very well-known after Oxford and other
Which year
universities.
was it?
It was in 2006-7.
Okay.
I completed my master's from Kashmir University and I left for Pune. But initially मैं किसी और काम से basically पुणे गया था. So because one of my friends was very close friend, he went after, he also graduated from geography from university and he went to Pune and रोज़ कॉल करते रहते थे, नहीं आ जाओ यहाँ जॉब करेंगे वो करेंगे. So somehow I left home and I reached Pune. कुछ देर वहाँ रुका, थोड़ा जॉब भी किया. I worked in call center, WNS हुआ करता था. So for
इंटरनेशनल कॉल सेंटर था.
Yeah, WNS. It was a good call center. There was
वहाँ क्या काम होता था आप लोगों का?
Basically there was a process, SEFCO process, insurance process. So I was working in that process. So late night job हुआ करता था. So it was a sort of a tiresome job. But मैंने बहुत कम टाइम में किया, 2-3 महीने तक. But basically this gave me chance to visit to Deccan College, Pune.
ये इंटरनेशनल कॉल सेंटर्स को लेकर एक बात मुझे याद आती है कि देयर इज एन इम्प्रेशन कि बहुत पैसा मिलता है, कि डॉलर्स में पैसा आता है.
No, it's not like that. It's not like that. Whatever you see, the overall scenario of the Indian call center, it's not like that. But मैं बहुत कम टाइम में रहा हूँ, मिलता भी होगा, मुझे नहीं मिला. Anyway, yeah. So I visited couple of times to Deccan College, Pune, and then I submitted my documents for the postgraduate diploma in archaeology.
Okay.
After that, I completed the PG in archaeology from that institute. Then subsequently, I came back home, went back to Deccan College for PhD, and I got enrolled for PhD, and I completed my PhD in 2013. January 2013, came back to Kashmir and there was nothing, jobs नहीं थे, खासकर archaeology में jobs नहीं थे. So somehow I got this, I applied for this Tagore National Research Fellowship from Ministry of Culture. So I still don't know how I got that through, because that's a very competitive fellowship. Okay. So I got the fellowship and it's a very well paid fellowship in fact. So for 1.5 years I was doing, as a Tagore National Research Fellow, working on Kashmir archaeology. And I was posted in Mumbai, Archaeological Survey of India Science Circle. After that, in 2015 April, I got appointed as assistant professor cum curator of the Central Asian Museum and Center of Central Asian Studies, University of Kashmir. Okay. So this is the sort of an academic journey I had. And in relation with your question, how you got into archaeology, that's how, I was very much fond of the ancient sites, especially Kashmir. I used to visit frequently Paryhaspora, Martin Sun Temple, Harwan, Burzaham. Somehow very, very attachment with these ancient places.
Okay, so, what was your first assignment? जब आप कश्मीर में आपको जॉब मिली, आर्कियोलॉजी का काम स्टार्ट हुआ,
the archaeology in Kashmir would not, in fact, go a long way if it's not well planned. There was a reason that I wanted to open the PG program in archaeology in Kashmir University, because till 2017 there was no PG program across Jammu and Kashmir, including the Ladakh region.
So none of the universities?
None of the universities. There was no PG program as an academic discipline.
Okay.
Any of the universities in UT of Ladakh and, now UT and now UT of Jammu and Kashmir. Nowhere. So whosoever wanted to pursue archaeology, he had to go outside. So this was in my mind, because archaeology is a teamwork. So I wanted to build a team to work on the archaeology of Kashmir. So that I took head on, in fact. So I initiated. I initiated prior to my appointment in the university. Okay. It happened long back in 2013. But thoda slow process raha. But eventually, in 2017, the PG program was started in our center. And till now, we have passed out 3-4 batches of PG students have passed from this PG program, archaeology at Center of Central Asian Studies. So particularly if you see that, as I said, that archaeology is a teamwork.
Yes.
Without team, you can't do anything because you need to go a long way to different places, far off regions, mountains, peaks, taking expeditions, explorations. So I needed team. So we had this, from the university. University also understood that there is a need of such a discipline in the university. So एक अच्छा support मिला university की तरफ से और we were able to open it. That was the first work I guess we did.
Okay. Now, archaeology का सब्जेक्ट पोस्ट ग्रेजुएशन का सब्जेक्ट यूनिवर्सिटी में है. इट इज़ जस्ट इन कश्मीर यूनिवर्सिटी या हमारे पास इस्लामिक यूनिवर्सिटी है या बाकी सेंट्रल यूनिवर्सिटी हमारे पास है, वहाँ सब जगह भी ये पढ़ाया जाता है?
नहीं. We are the only university offering postgraduate course in archaeology.
Okay.
In Jammu and Kashmir as well as in Ladakh.
Okay. Before going into बारामुल्ला में जो excavations आप लोगों ने की है recently जो हुई है, मैं जानना चाहूँगा कि क्योंकि आर्कियोलॉजी में आपको पढ़ना पड़ता है कि जो भी आपको आर्टिफैक्ट्स जो भी आप डिस्कवर कर पाते हैं, लैंग्वेज का कितना इम्पोर्टेंस है आर्कियोलॉजी में या पास्ट की इन चीज़ों को समझने के लिए?
It's very important. In fact, the ancient languages are important if you go. So we are dealing with a human past, which is like 99% where there was no written records, first thing. So for the whole human history, where there are no written records, we rely on the artifacts, we rely on the evidences from the archaeological explorations and excavations. But later part of ये मान के चलिए कि 5,000 साल 6,000 साल की हिस्ट्री से हमें कुछ रिकॉर्ड्स written records मिल रहे हैं. But there are some written records which we still cannot decipher. For example, the Harappan script is there. But in relation with Himalayas and in relation with Kashmir, our written history doesn't go back 2,000 years, almost. So in archaeological, we have inscriptions as an evidence, written inscriptions. We have, manuscripts and other things. So one archaeologist has to has an sort of an idea about the language. So there are people who specialize in archaeology in ancient language, like कुछ लोग खरोष्टी में डिप्लोमा और डिग्रीज करते हैं, कुछ ब्राह्मी में, कुछ बाकी स्क्रिप्ट्स को जानने की कोशिश करते हैं. संस्कृत इज़ देयर ऑल्सो एंड there is Persian, which is very important in the later part of the history for the medieval period. And it's very, very important in terms of archaeology.
कश्मीरी होने के नाते मैं ये भी जानना चाहूँगा कि जो भी आप लोगों ने अभी तक डिस्कवरीज की है, उनमें कहीं ऐसा कोई स्क्रिप्ट मिला जो कश्मीरी में लिखा हो?
Unfortunately not, because we are dealing mostly with the very, very ancient past.
Okay.
We work on Paleolithic archaeology, we work on Neolithic,
Okay.
We also work on early historic archaeology. So Kashmir as a script is very later period.
कौन सी लैंग्वेज ज़्यादा जो आपको अभी
We
तक
have in
दिखाई दी?
Kashmir खरोष्टी है, कहीं कहीं ब्राह्मी भी मिल रहा है. Sanskrit is very much in the later part when Sanskrit was very popular. But mostly, if you see Kharoshti, Brahmi, scripts are there.
Okay, now let's move to the recent excavation जो ज़हनपुरा में हुई. What led to the discovery of this site जहाँ पे आपने फिर excavations की?
See, this site is very well known. बहुत टाइम से लोग जानते हैं साइट के बारे में, खासकर लोकल लोग जो वहाँ पे रहते हैं. There are people who have traveled across the region and they have documented this site very well. We have earliest photographic evidences of the site. But the issue is that this was not the archaeological site in terms of its, popularity among the people. What we did from last couple of years, we have been quite frequently going to the site and, trying to analyze different aspects of the landscape and many other things. Mostly हम जो काम कर रहे थे वो field studies कर रहे थे, walking on the site, and we got a lot of evidences on the surface that there must be some very, very good archaeological potential of the site. So as I said, that from last couple of years we have been going to the site, and fortunately, in 2023, in October, I was in France, Paris, on a fellowship. So, वहाँ पे एक museum है, that's Game Museum, that has a large collection from South Asia. So, this was in my mind that whenever I go there, I need to visit that to see the collection. And there is this curator, one person, he comes to me that we have archival photographic collection of South Asia, especially from the region you are from. I
मीन्स
said
कि दे हैड फोटोग्राफ ऑफ दिस साइट जहनपुरा वाली साइट की फोटोग्राफ्स
there's
उनके
a
पास
huge
है.
collection of Kashmir and
Okay.
surrounding regions of the
Okay.
Himalayas, because a lot of people from the different parts of the world, particularly the Britishers used to come to Kashmir for summer period and go around, take photographs, and these collections are archived in many museums across the globe. So one of the museums, and when I went this particular museum to see the collection, I went to the photographic section and I searched a lot of photographs from Kashmir. But one photograph which was very particular about this side, which we have been going already a couple of years back. So that photograph was very important for me. And then, when I saw that photograph, I realized that what we look at the site right now is more than what the photograph says, basically, because the large mounds which are there are now not that large, which actually photographs depict. So I was interested that this site has a potential, and that's how this all these things came up. But
ये फोटोग्राफ कौन से साल में लिया गया था?
there are two dates which I am even not sure of. Either it is in 1896 or 1925, because the person, as per the records, the person who took the photograph of the site, he has visited 2 times to Kashmir. So that's why we are not sure. But to make it a little bit precise, that 1925 would be the better date to date the photograph of the site. I guess it is very close to that, 1925 around. Yeah.
Okay.
That photograph was one of the reasons that I concluded that the site is very rich and needs to be excavated.
Okay. So जब फ्रांस के म्यूजियम की हम बात करेंगे, फ्रांस के म्यूजियम में तो एक तो जैनपुरा वाली साइट के बारे में आपको पता चला कि there it has archaeological potential. So what are the other sites जिनके बारे में आपको वहाँ से idea मिला कि we should go for excavations to know the Kashmir's past?
See, I particularly had this site in mind. So, but there are other photographs which are very interesting about the Kashmir. The ancient.
कौन सी जगह के हैं?
One photograph was of Avantipora, and another was again Avantipora. Next to Avantipora, there is a bridge. There is a park right now on that bridge, where there is a photograph with lot of archaeological, material. We had this sort of a lion's head on one photograph, which is very interesting. So
कहाँ से लिया गया है वो?
एक जगह है यहाँ पे बिजबिहाड़ा ही बोलेंगे. सो वहाँ पे एक फोटोग्राफ उस म्यूज़ियम में मैंने देखा. सो वो फोटोग्राफ एक लॉइन हेड की शक्ल में है, एंड इट हैज़ गॉट विंग्स ऑल्सो. सो दैट फोटोग्राफ इज़ circulated in academic circles, publications में आया है बहुत पहले, but it's the artifact is not there. Along with that, there are a couple of monuments around, and the images are also there in the photograph, which is very interesting in a way that this particular evidence can date back to the region and the site, and it can go into BC, like 3rd, 4th century BC. So that is very important about this particular site. And there are other photographs, general photographs from that museum, where you can see that there is a lot of photography based on the archaeological sites in Kashmir, which gives an interesting image of the Kashmir archaeology prior to 100 years.
So एक तो जैनपुर आप अभी जहाँ पे आप काम कर रहे हैं, एक्सकेवेशंस चल रही हैं, यू आर रीडिंग द साइट. व्हाट आर द अदर साइट्स जिनको आप अभी रीड कर रहे हो?
We started a project in 2017. We wanted to do some geophysical survey of one of the sites at Ahan गांधरबल में है, और वहाँ पे हमने geophysical survey किया. Ahan is also very important because of the reason that it is situated on the right bank of the river Jhelum. So very next to, behind Mansbal Lake. It's a very ancient village. So Ahan was reported way back in 1960s by Professor Fida Hosnan. So कुछ वहाँ से terracotta tiles मिले थे, sculptures मिले थे. Because of that thing that the site is already well known. हम जानना चाहते थे कि कोई एविडेंस है, स्ट्रक्चरल एविडेंस है. सो वी स्टार्टेड ए जियोफिजिकल सर्वे एट अहान. सो जहाँ पे हमने सर्वे किया, वहाँ हमको बहुत अच्छी एविडेंस मिली कि देयर आर स्ट्रक्चर्स बीनीथ. So in 2017-18 we excavated that site very little because that was a collaborative project with one of the Russian universities. Since there was some permission issue, they could not come down for the excavations.
Okay.
So we had to excavate it all alone. So हमने थोड़ी excavation की, very limited excavation of 1 month, and we got a very good result. Since that was a private land, so next year उन्होंने continue करने नहीं दिया लोगों ने. So
कोई प्रोविजन नहीं है कि अगर कहीं पर आर्कियोलॉजिकल रिच साइट है तो उसको टेक ओवर करना या टू टेक इट ओवर फॉर सम टाइम जब तक हम उसको रीड करें फिर लैंडलॉर्ड को वो वापस दे दे.
There is a provision under certain acts, certain rules of the government, but government should initiate. We report to the government and they should initiate. But since there was a lot of issue with the private lands, acquiring the land and notifying it and giving it for the archaeological exploration, it takes a lot of time.
ये कौन से साल की बात है कि जब आपका काम वहाँ पे रोका गया?
It was not रोका नहीं गया, but locals have a say because even the laws say that you should get a permission from the person whose land it is, the owner of the land. So इन्होंने 1 साल के लिए परमिशन दिया, हमने काम किया. सो नेक्स्ट ईयर दे.
तो इस वजह से जो एक बोटल नेक टाइप है, इस वजह से आपका जो काम है उसमें कोई रुकावटें आती हैं
if it is a private land. For example, the Zehanpora site is not a private land, it is a government land. So it belongs to a couple of departments. LJHPC का land है, and then it's handed over to social forestry department. So the process was very smooth. The district administration, particularly the development commissioner Baramulla, Mr. Minga Sherpa, he took a very good initiative with all the departments, and every formality, every permissions were sorted out well in time before we started the excavation. So there is a difference between the government land and the private land, owned private land. So usually करने नहीं देते हैं लोग क्योंकि ज़मीन जाएगी शायद ये कल को notify होगी. So we understand the value of the land in Kashmir. So yeah.
ठीक है. तो अभी ज़हनपुरा की जो आप excavations कर रही हैं, what does this tell about Kashmir's past? और इसके बाद ये भी जानना चाहूँगा कि like you have been working on different sites across Kashmir. उनमें सिमिलरिटीज़ क्या है? दिस वुड बी आवर नेक्स्ट थिंग. लेट्स अंडरस्टैंड कि जो ज़हनपुरा में आप डिस्कवरीज कर रहे हैं, व्हाट डज दैट टेल अस अबाउट आवर पास्ट?
ज़हनपुरा साइट प्राइमरली एक बुद्धिस्ट साइट है बिकॉज देयर आर कपल ऑफ माउंट्स देयर. 3-4 जो
बुद्धिस्ट पीरियड इज द फॉरगॉटन पीरियड ऑफ कश्मीर.
Exactly, but it was one of the important periods in Kashmir history. If we stretch the Buddhist history, the textual references tell us that before the Ashoka came, he sent a Majhandika as a propagator of the Buddhism to Kashmir. There was a Buddhism already prevalent in Kashmir.
Okay.
So this is the textual reference. So there are couple of places, couple of references where you see that Buddhism was already present. Kalhana tells us about that, even in Rajtarangani. And if we see that Buddhism from the Ashoka's time in Kashmir has been propagated too much, and that's why it got a very good base. There was a patronage given by the kings later on in the Kushan period, or even the Indo-Greek period. If you see Indo-Greek history and the dialogue between the king Maninder and the Nagasena monk, it's very well known, and it's in a book form. If you see, this whole thing from the from the Mauryan period, Ashoka's time, till it goes to the Indo-Greeks and then to the Kushans. The whole thing, Kashmir was primarily a Buddhist, region. So, in terms of,
So, ये कौन से साल की आप बात करें? कौन से century की आप बात कर रहे हैं?
We usually start 3rd century BC.
Okay. So you're telling me 3rd century BC में Kashmir was a Buddhist place, was Buddhist majority place. Oh.
There are textual references for that. So because Ashoka has built the
city. We have textual references, but वो corroborate हो रही हैं कि जो आप evidences वहाँ पे अभी आपको मिल रही है, जिन भी sites पे आप काम कर रहे हैं, discoveries कर रहे हैं, does it corroborate कि हाँ it was a Buddhist
Right. There
area,
are
region?
very good amount of evidences we have from the very beginning, and then when we shift to the other periods of the history, for example, the Indo-Greeks, we have a site in South Kashmir, Semthan. Semthan is very well known site for the Indo-Greek because it's considered one of the important sites where from we have the Indo-Greek evidences.
Okay.
The Indo-Greeks were ruling Kashmir as well for a pretty short period of time.
Okay.
Then we move to other periods like Parthians, Sakas, and other periods, till we reach the Kushan period, where from we have large textual and huge archaeological evidence. In terms of archaeology of Kashmir, जब हम कुशान पीरियड की बात कर रहे हैं, there are n number of sites across Kashmir Valley from north to south, and major sites, sort of town sites. Kalhana tells us in Rajtarangani that three kings of Kushan dynasty built 4 towns in Kashmir. The Kanishka built the Kaniskapur in Baramulla, and the Hushka, one of the kings of the Kushan period, built the Ushkur in Baramulla.
Okay.
And then there is another king, Joshka. He has also built 2 towns particularly, but the archaeological evidence needs to confirm the Jushka's evidence as well, which we have, but very fragmented one. जब हम ओवरऑल सिनेरियो की बात करते हैं कश्मीर आर्कियोलॉजी और कुशान पीरियड, दिस इज़ वन ऑफ द रिचेस्ट पीरियड्स इन कश्मीर आर्कियोलॉजी. या सो इसमें बहुत सारी डेवलपमेंट्स भी हुई. फॉर एग्जांपल हिनायान बुद्धिज़्म को महायान बुद्धिज़्म में कन्वर्ट किया गया कश्मीरी फिलोसफर्स के द्वारा. उन्होंने बहुत मेहनत की इस पे, और एक वर्ल्ड को खासकर द सेंट्रल एशियन कंट्रीज़ एज वेल एज चाइना एंड द फार ईस्ट, उनको यहाँ से मिला महायाना बुद्धिज़्म. It's considered that the propagators of Mahayana Buddhism were from Kashmir, and they traveled across the Central Asia, China, and many regions and propagated the Buddhism. So that's how Buddhism influenced across
so, आप बता रहे हैं कि बुद्धिस्ट मॉन्क्स जो है वो कश्मीर से ट्रैवल करके सेंट्रल एशियन कंट्रीज में बुद्धिज्म को फैलाया.
There are many references that वहाँ से भी लोग आए बुद्धिज्म सीखने के लिए कश्मीर. बाकी कंट्री से, चाइना से, we have evidence.
Yeah, it is known as like it's a center of knowledge for Buddhism. Yeah. I have seen it in multiple texts.
Exactly. So Central Asia se, and then China se, Hyunsong has come to Kashmir.
Yeah.
And there are multiple sources telling us that there were many other scholars from different regions, like from Korea.
Okay.
There was a person,
So I hope some North Korea से तो कोई नहीं आया था.
So there is a reference of Hyochi's diary. Hyochi was one of the monks who traveled to Kashmir. उसने अपनी डायरी में कश्मीर का जिक्र किया है और बहुत अच्छे से किया है. Similarly, the Hyunsong, Okong, these were the travelers who traveled to Kashmir to learn Buddhist, philosophy and practice, how it was practiced in Kashmir. So, in terms of that, if you see Kashmir history, sort of starts with the Buddhist period within the Kushan period. It starts with the Buddhist period, and later on it goes into the Huna period and other periods of the history.
So ज़हनपुरा में जो अभी तक आपने डिस्कवरीज की है, तो what does it tell about कि like archaeologically where does it stand? अगर हम बाकी साइट्स के साथ इसको कंपेयर करेंगे, तो where does it stand?
See, ज़हनपुरा situated जहाँ पे है, that is one of the ancient routes, where from the road goes to other parts of the. Particularly in ancient times, if you see, way back in 2000 years back, if you see, Zehanpora was one of the locations where from the route to Texila, the Kushan settlement, one of the important Kushan cities, used to go. We were very well connected via that, and then to Central Asia and many other regions. So if you see across the line of control, you see there is a huge, Buddhist presence, Buddhist archaeology, archaeological monuments, और उनका connection हमारे साथ obviously बनता रहता था, because this was a once upon a time, prior to 97, एक ही तो scenario था. So what we see that currently, if we see that this particular route was very much used from the very beginning. सो इस पे ये एक बड़ा पड़ाव की हैसियत का काम करता था ये जैनपुरा साइट. एंड देन यू सी द साइट इज़ वेरी ह्यूज अगैन, एंड ऑन द राइट बैंक ऑफ द रिवर जहलम ऑन ए मेंडर बनता है जो रिवर जहलम का, वहाँ पे ही ये साइट है. सो इफ़ यू सी लोकेशनल एनालिसिस के हिसाब से दिस इज़ सेंट्रली लोकेटेड, साइट इज़ वेरी सेंट्रली लोकेटेड अक्रॉस द रीजन.
Okay.
So one of the important aspects of it is that might had people coming from the different directions to the site, and dispersing towards different
इसको
routes.
माना जा सकता है कि कश्मीर में बुद्धिस्ट साइट सबसे बड़ी मानी जाएगी.
So far अगर आप देखें जो डायमेंशन है साइट का और जहाँ जहाँ से हमें एविडेंसेस मिलते हैं, आई गेस this is one of the largest sites of Buddhist nature in the Kashmir Valley particularly, or with lot of potential for if the excavations continues. रही बात इसकी कि वहाँ से क्या मिला. सो बेसिकली द फर्स्ट डिग जो हमारा पहला एक्सक्वेशन था इस साल में बहुत स्मॉल रहा, but we were basically doing some other surveys along with the excavations. So हमने बहुत सारी नए equipments का पहली बार इस्तेमाल किया excavations में. For example, we did the drone mapping, which was very important aspect of the understanding the landscape. We did again the laser scanning or 3D documentation, photogrammetry we did, and the GPR
And also
survey.
digital archiving you have done, na?
Digital archaeology, yeah.
Okay.
So these are all part of sort of a digital archaeology, and this work is being conducted across the globe. In fact, high standard work.
इससे पहले आप इन चीज़ों को जो अभी टेक्नोलॉजी का यूज़ आपने किया, इससे पहले आप कैसे इन चीज़ों का अंजाम देते थे?
Mostly in particularly in Indian context, just prior to 5 years or 10 years before. A decade before, the approach was mostly traditional in archaeological context, खासकर field related. So we used to go field walking and many other things, then decide where to excavate. But here the technology plays a very important role. So the drone mapping was done. We understood the site better by taking photographs from the above and analyzing the whole picture. And then going into the 3D documentation of the stupas to understand the contours of archaeological points where from the architecture and many other things, and we got all this together to understand the whole cultural landscape of the site, and that benefited us. So we spotted one area on the basis of this mapping that we should excavate here. So when we started, and initially we realized that we are at the right spot, because there are some few concepts in archaeology where you seek the crop marks, where you see the soil marks, and you distinguish between the place where there are structures beneath and where there are not structures beneath. So on the basis of that, we put the grid, excavation grid, on the particular site, and we started excavating. Within 2-3 days, the wall started coming out from the excavation, and we continued the excavation. It was more clear and clearer and clearer.
And what did you found exactly?
It's a huge wall. In fact, 2 walls of a hall. In archaeological and the Buddhist architecture, we call it apsidal temple. So these are the 2 walls we have excavated of the apsidal temple. The apsidal means that it has a apse, the circular at the end. So the sort of a ring type construction pattern. We could not excavate that portion because of the very limited time we had. But the 2 walls we have excavated, and these are the Kushan constructional patterns में बना हुआ wall है.
This whole work, इसमें आप settlements read नहीं कर रहे हैं, आप अभी सिर्फ इसके religious affiliations को read कर रहे हैं.
Right. This is sort of because the next to the this particular structure which we excavated, there is a stupa again, the Buddhist stupa. So this is sort of a religious site. So settlement is a different area at the site. We believe that there is an area definitely on the site, which is a settlement area.
उस पर भी आप काम करने वाले हैं?
Hopefully in the future. Future में हम उस पे काम कर, because that's very important to know about the social aspects of the life of the people and all that. So, but ये जो structure हमें मिला है, along with that, we have found a number of antiquities are there, particularly the number of iron nails we have found. So the huge iron nails, this signifies that the superstructure was most probably of wood. On the walls, the superstructure which used to be was of wood, because the iron nails are huge, and we have found it in good quantity also. So that signifies that the superstructure has perished, and then
nails are there.
Iron nails have remained, and there's a huge evidence across the walls. We found the iron nails, so that's why we believe that the wood has gone, the superstructure has gone,
and iron
has remained, and along with that iron, we have these huge walls coming up. We have reached to 5 feet level of the wall, so it's approximate 5 feet. Right now we have stopped the excavations. So apart from that, there is a lot more quantity of the pottery we have found. There are some, very small copper fragments, like, the copper needle we found, which is very peculiar in terms of, its existence in that at that particular site. And there are other objects, very smaller objects, and some figurines also.
So ये पहली साइट ऐसी है कि जो आप जहाँ पे आप excavations ASI regulations के तहत conduct कर रहे हैं. इससे पहले ऐसा नहीं होता था कश्मीर में.
Excavations across India is done under the
ASI
regulations, and they provide the license, and then we excavate. Otherwise, we cannot excavate.
तो ये भी उसी हिसाब से हो रही है.
We have been very fortunate that ASI has cleared all formalities and provided us the license for excavation.
बारामूला के बगैर कश्मीर में there are lot of archaeological sites. अगर हम आपसे ये समझना चाहेंगे कि कौन सी ऐसी साइट्स हैं जिनको पढ़ने के बाद हमें कश्मीर की हिस्ट्री के बारे में एक अच्छा खासा आइडिया मिल सकता है.
There are number of sites across Kashmir Valley from north to south, particularly in the southern part of Kashmir. अगर हम देखेंगे, one of the sites known as Samthan. Samthan एक अच्छी साइट है. इसकी excavation 1980s में हुई थी एक बार. The only one season excavation has provided a lot of information about the site. We have a huge, this cultural strata from the site. Stratigraphy and layers have are telling us that this site is at least starting from the end of the megalithic and till the medieval periods, the continuous settlement was there, and the excavation was very limited at the site. So in future, अगर इस site पे एक और बार excavation होता है, this can tell, because now we have more technology in hand. We can do better work with the technology we have. So the mapping can be done, and the whole layout of the site could be. Without excavation, we can tell a lot of things about the site. There is one more site near Pahalgam, Hutmur. That's one of the important sites if excavated in the future, and that has provided already very good evidence of the Kushan period as well. There is a site in Anantnag district known as Kotbal. That's again very important site. Burzahom again can be re-excavated, because the site was excavated for a pretty long time, for almost 10 years. 10 साल तक excavation हुआ site पे. मगर problem ये रही कि it has been done in 1960s. So since then, archaeology has shifted, archaeology has changed. There is a technological involvement in archaeology. So more excavations.
So you believe अगर आज फिर से वहाँ पे excavations होंगी तो हमें कुछ और ज़्यादा idea मिल सकता है कि कैसे
बहुत ज़्यादा.
That is a settlement kind of thing. उसमें religious affiliation ज़्यादा हमें पता नहीं चली हुई है.
Right.
But do you think कि अगर उसमें excavations और हो जाएंगे तो we can have idea of religious affiliation of the site also?
That's very important. जो साइट बहुत साल पहले, like 3, 4, 5 decades पहले excavate हुई है, उनको re-excavate करना और आज के अंदाज में excavate करना with more technological involvement would be very beneficial to understand the history of the region. Particularly अगर आप इसकी बात करेंगे, बुर्ज़होम की बात करेंगे, बुर्ज़होम is we have been we got excavation license 2 times for the burzahom. We wanted to excavate it. We applied to the Archaeological Survey of India for the excavation and we got it. But unfortunately दोनों time हम नहीं कर पाए because one was in 2019. There was sort of restrictions for a pretty long time because of the abrogation of Article 370. And then immediately we went into the COVID season. We got excavation license for the second time in the COVID season, but there was no response from the
तो उसको renew नहीं कर सकते हैं. You can further apply for it.
Yeah, we can in the future, and we are planning with ASI that if they approve in the future, we will re-excavate this site. And because this site is one of the internationally recognized sites within the whole Himalayan region, so we need to excavate it once more at least.
जैसे हमारे पास और भी साइट्स है, जैसे परियासपोरा है, बुरज़ाहमा की जिसकी हम बात कर ही रहे थे, आहान है हमारे पास. There are certain other sites जो prominent sites है. उनकी जब हम उनको रीड करते हैं, what does each site tell us about Kashmir's past?
See, for example, Harman excavate हुई 1920s में. हमारे यहाँ एक जाने माने archaeologist थे RC का, so उन्होंने excavate की. तो Harman is completely a Buddhist site.
Okay.
So it's a very well-known Buddhist site. और Harman 4 terraces में है. You have the structures across all terraces.
Yes.
So it tells us more about, and Harman was related to the 4th Buddhist Council by many people. That many people suggested that 4th Buddhist Council वहाँ पे ही हुआ है during the Kanishka's time. But there are other sites which has been proposed by many people, by many scholars and academicians. ये एक साइट ऐसी साइट है जिसका आर्ट हमें बहुत कुछ बता रहा है. Kashmir was a sort of a cosmopolitan character था कश्मीर का. For example, we see Kashmir as a periphery, particularly the Himalayan region of Kashmir.
Yes.
We see it as a periphery in a sense that all people, whenever you meet someone, I am from Kashmir, so they see it like they are living in a sort of a very far-flung area.
True.
Yeah, but it was not the case. Actually, we try to understand Kashmir through archaeology as a core region because it was at the intersection of many routes. We had a couple of routes which were going from Kashmir, from Srinagar to Bandipora and then Gilgit and connecting it to the Silk Road. Similarly, one route used to go to Ladakh and then connecting to Silk Route. Another route via Baramulla connecting again to the Central Asia and Silk Route. For the Indian plans, Kashmir was a very, very much at the center of everything. For example, trade and many other reasons. Inland trend to Kashmir se hi hua karta tha. So every commodity for trade came to Kashmir, and then from Kashmir to the Silk Route. It was. So we try to understand Kashmir from the core region perspective rather than as a periphery. So this will tell us a lot about the Kashmir, and these sites tell us a lot about, as you said, that what archaeological site. For example, I'll give one example from the Harwan. The terracotta tiles found from the Harwan has depiction of the stories depicted on the terracotta tiles in a sort of a decorative form belong to many regions of the world. For example, we have tiles depicting the characters and the stories from ancient Persia, Silk Road regions, the Parthian regions. Even some tiles we have found in Kashmir, they have a theme which was very much popular in Egypt. So we were sort of a crossroads. So these ideas,
these
stories,
वगैरह की वजह से होता था, like Buddhist period में monks, then traders, Persian traders.
Because of the movements of the people, whether that was for the religious purpose, whether that was for the trade purpose, these ideas used to come. One of the celebrated images, which I call always celebrated, is that the Persian king has been shown one of the tiles of the Harwan, holding a sword and killing a griffin. That is a celebrated celebrated image in across Persia, ancient Persia. So that has been found in Kashmir. Similarly, there are a couple of images which of the Egyptian, stories, which have been, found on the tiles of Kashmir. This shows the cosmopolitan character of the Kashmir. So we try to read archaeological evidences, archaeological, artifacts, archaeological sites from that perspective, right? So this gives us a lot of, sometimes a confidence that we were very center of everything.
Yes.
Whether that was Buddhism, whether that was Shaivism, Vaishnavism, Trika Shaivism, or for that matter, the spread of Islam. The Kashmir was the center of everything.
What is Paryaspora? क्या हमें बताता है हमारे past के बारे में?
Paryaspora is majorly Lalitaditya has built the new city in Paryaspora. So currently, whatever the site is preserved, the very small part of that is preserved by ASI, and one part of it is preserved by the State Archaeology Department. The site which is preserved and protected by the ASI is mostly primarily a Buddhist site.
Okay.
So you have a stupa, you have a vihara and monastery over there. So that's one of the huge sites, and the size of the huge stupa in a cruciform plan at Paryaspora is one of the largest, in fact, in Kashmir Valley. So it's one of the richest sites we have. But there is a need that this site should be taken up for further investigations. And, there are peripheries where we can actually see the extension of the site. The city was not what we have right now at the moment, protected area. It was very far up across the landscape. So there are evidences still that there are number of structures across the landscape which were in fact the part of the city. Of Lalitaditya. And Lalitaditya is very well known across Kashmir. He has built the huge temples like the Martin Sun Temple, and we have this one of the sites at Ushkur. Ushkur is the current what we have at Ushkur. One of the this stupas, in fact.
So Ushkur is also इसी के Buddhist period के साथ related है क्या?
Ushkur has a different history. See, Ushkur was actually built by the Hushka, who was a Kushan king. Later on, Kanishka built the similar structure on the earlier foundations of the Kushan period structure. Right? So what we have right now at Ushkur is the Lalitaditya structure, but beneath that is the Kushan structure, which has been confirmed by through the scientific clearance at the site by the ASI. So we know exactly that there were a couple of sites where the site was actually occupied by the Kushans, and later on in the in the Lalitaditya's time, it was reoccupied and rebuilt by the Lalitaditya. And similar happens, I guess, with the Paryaspora, because the whole site has a lot of pottery from the Kushan period also. That's why we believe that the site was first occupied during the Kushan
So all
period.
of these archaeological sites have kind of इनका एक same character है. The most of them are Buddhist period के साथ related है, right?
Oh, we cannot say that. If we have a sort of a stratigraphy for archaeology, so chronology. So if you see Neolithic sites belong to Neolithic period, and there is, in some cases, there is a continuity to the early historic period for the sites like Burzahom. But in many cases, you see that there is a single period site, single cultural site. So for now, we can say that Paryaspora is a single cultural phase because of the huge constructions which are there, or of the Lalitaditya's period. And not necessarily all sites are Buddhist, but there are sites which are Buddhist, and there are sites which are of the later period, Sindhu period, and many other periods.
आपको मैं पूछना चाहूँगा कि अगर आपकी राय में ये पूछा जाए कि कश्मीर में कौन सी ऐसी साइट है जो अंडर एक्सप्लोर्ड है या very misunderstood site hai?
I'll give two sites, in fact. For the Neolithic period, we need to re-excavate Burzahom.
Okay.
Because there was exceptionally well work done, but the time it was done, it is long back. So we need to rework on the certain things about the Burzahom.
Okay.
Neolithic is very important because our people started living in Kashmir from the Neolithic period onwards. We have some Paleolithic evidences also, but Neolithic is very important to understand. So I will suggest that Burzahom should be taken up. And there is another site which I already talked about is Semthen.
Yes.
Semthen is very important site. So one should look from that perspective, that what site holds. This Semthen site holds every cultural phase of ancient Kashmir. So it will be a sort of a reference site for all archaeological work in Kashmir Valley.
अभी तक इन टोटल जो हमारे पास आर्कियोलॉजिकल साइट्स को एक्सक्यूट किया गया है, कितनी है टोटल?
There are a number of sites which have been excavated. For example, Burzahom is there, Gufkral is there, Semthen is there, Harvan is there. Kanispur in Baramulla was excavated for a very short period, one single season. And there are, Ushkur was excavated but limited work. Ahan was a little bit excavated again. But from last couple of decades, there is no full-fledged work on archaeology of Kashmir. So archaeological excavations need to, for a couple of seasons at least to understand better archaeology of the site. So there are certain reasons that
resources की कमी है क्या?
Resources, I won't say resources because there is a lot of money funding agencies would give and other things. There was a time just a couple of years back, there were no people working on archaeology of Kashmir. So the resource in terms of funds are very much there.
Manpower की कमी है.
Manpower की कमी थी. But from last couple of years, we are building it on it, and we are continuously trying to work on the archaeology of Kashmir.
So when we were talking about Harvan, आपने fourth Buddhist Council की भी बात की. Can you elaborate on that?
There are multiple versions, about the fourth Buddhist Council. There are stories that it was held in Kashmir, but one story that it was held in Jalandhar in Punjab. But most of the stories, most of the references support the view that it was held in Kashmir. And it was held during the Kushan period and during the Kanishka's reign. So Kanishka was one of the greatest kings of the Kushan dynasty. So he wanted to basically have a dialogue between the different sects of the Buddhism. So on the basis of dialogue, he would convene a council. And it was decided that this council would be held in Kashmir because the Kashmir's temperature is very cool, the atmosphere is very nice. And one of the reasons would have been that Buddhism was very much prevalent in Kashmir. So any dialogue on Buddhism should start from Kashmir. Right. So Kanishka in a way was very sure that any deliberations on the Buddhism should be held in Kashmir, and that's what many academicians believe. The earliest reference we get from Hyun Song's anecdotes that it was held in Kashmir, and there are multiple versions. I call it local versions, local history versions of the people of the Kashmir. Many people tried to figure it out from last couple of decades. In fact, where was this council held? But we have yet to reach to that particular location.
हमारे पास कोई फाइंडिंग्स ऐसी है नहीं कि जो उसको उसके बारे में और ज्यादा डिटेल्स हमें दे.
Exactly.
तो अगर एक्सकेवेशंस हो जाएंगी कि अब इतने सारे देयर आर मल्टीपल लॉट ऑफ रेफरेंसेस कि जो एस्टैब्लिश करते हैं कि फोर्थ बुद्धिस्ट काउंसिल कश्मीर में हुआ था. अगर एक्सकेवेशंस होंगी तो इट विल सब्सटेंशिएट इट विल गिव अस मोर डिटेल्स अबाउट इट, राइट?
One thing is for sure that if archaeological excavations continue across the multiple locations in Kashmir in the future, I believe that there would be some inscription coming up. There would be such a reference coming up that this, fourth Buddhist Council was held in Kashmir. Of course, it would be mentioning a place, a site, patronage, who was the chief for this, and all these things around it. But so far, what we have is...
कोई प्लान है ऐसा करने का, वहाँ पे एक्सकेवेशंस और करने का, ताकि हमें इस बारे में और ज़्यादा जानकारी हासिल हो?
That's what I'm saying, that we do not know where is the exact location. So इस पे बहुत ज़्यादा research करने की ज़रूरत है. और meanwhile, as you said, that excavation is important. So, for example, the site which we are excavating, we believe to some extent that this might be because the fourth Buddhist Council, it's believed that at least 5,000 monks came and then 500 were shortlisted
जी
to participate out of 5,000.
अच्छा उस काउंसिल में पार्टिसिपेट करने के लिए हाँ
So it would require a huge place
Yes.
to
ये होल्ड करने के लिए
ये
काउंसिल
council hold करने के लिए. So and then the lot of requirements again. So I believe that the site we are excavating might be the site, because it's very huge. There is a separate settlement area in the site, which we believe is the settlement area, and there are a couple of mounds over there, and much more evidence around. And one of the important evidences is that it's centrally located. Monks did not come to participate in the council from Kashmir only. They came from the other regions of the subcontinent. Some would have come from Central Asian territories, China, some would have come from the whole Gandhra region, So I believe that this was the site which was centrally located in Kashmir and on the ancient route, which was one of the important routes. So I believe that this site might tell us a little bit about the Fourth Buddhist Council also. But so far what we have from the archaeological part, we don't have any evidence. But from the textual references, we have a little bit of evidence which supports that it was held in Kashmir. Hopefully we find it in the future.
ओके एक चीज़ और जानना चाहूँगा कि जो भी आपकी रिकवरीज होती हैं एक्सकेवेशन के दौरान वो कहाँ पे आप सेंट्रल एशियन स्टडीज़ में ही रखते हैं वो सब चीज़ें या कहीं और किसी और म्यूजियम में रखते हैं
Basically for this project we have a collaboration with the State Department of Archives, Archaeology and Museums. So we'll be handing over all antiquities, artifacts to them after the due process of research we will do.
पहले आप उस पे रिसर्च करेंगे उसको
we will do
पढ़ेंगे
the research,
समझेंगे और फिर उसके बाद वो म्यूजियम में चले जाएंगे
and that would be the better place for that would be the SPS museum. And then we can even, because we have our own museum at the Central Asian Museum at Kashmir University, we can keep some over there as well. So there is a provision for that.
और कश्मीर मतलब एक ऐसी जगह है जहाँ पे जैसे जितनी ज़्यादा एक्सकेवेशन होती है वो नेक्स्ट डे हमें और एक साइट मिलती है कि कहीं ना कहीं पर और भी हमारे पास जो आर्कियोलॉजिकली रिच साइट है और इसमें सबसे इम्पॉर्टेंट चीज़ है कि कितनी ज़रूरत है कि जो लोकल पॉपुलेशन है उनको इस चीज़ की अंडरस्टैंडिंग देने के लिए ये चीज़ समझाने के लिए कि हाउ दे कैन प्रिजर्व आर्कियोलॉजिकली रिच साइट्स क्या इस देयर कोई ऐसा प्रोग्राम है आपके पास कि जो एरिया आपको रिच लग रहे हैं आर्कियोलॉजिकली वहाँ के लोकल्स को आप इस चीज़ की नॉलेज देते हैं कि इन चीज़ों को प्रोटेक्ट करना चाहिए जब तक हम एक्सकेवेशंस करें या इन साइट्स को रीड करें
आई वुड से कि हम पिछले कई साल ऑलमोस्ट 3-4 साल से हम एक रेडियो प्रोग्राम करते आ रहे हैं ऑन रेडियो कश्मीर. सो वो प्रोग्राम सिर्फ इसी चीज़ के लिए है कि लोगों को ये समझाया जाए, अवेयरनेस दी जाए अबाउट द आर्कियोलॉजी ऑफ कश्मीर. सो वो अवेयरनेस हम रेडियो प्रोग्राम्स थ्रू देते हैं. But usually whenever we go to for the field excavation, fields visits, we tell the local people that how much the area is important, क्या क्या evidences हैं. इससे आपकी जो लोकेशन है, आपका जो गाँव है, आपके जो पेरिफेरीज हैं, ये कितने इम्पॉर्टेंट है और इससे क्या पता चल सकता है हमें इन द फ्यूचर. सो वी ऑलवेज सेंसिटाइज द लोकल पीपल इन टर्म्स ऑफ द अवेयरनेस अबाउट द कल्चरल हेरिटेज. सो वो एक हमारा एक पार्ट रहता है हमारी फील्ड वर्क का. तो लोग भी समझ जाते हैं. देयर आर सर्टन रेफरेंसेस. जब हमें वहाँ से ही कॉल आता है लोगों सर ऐसे खाना ये मिला ये. सो हम खोद रहे थे तो ये मिल गया हमें.
गोया की अंडरस्टैंडिंग है लोगों में.
एग्जैक्टली. वी हैव कपल ऑफ इंस्टेंसेस वी हैव रीच्ड टू दिस साइट बिकॉज लोकल पीपल ने हमें फ़ोन किया कि आप आ जाइए, यहाँ पे कुछ मिला है, यहाँ पे ये है, यहाँ पे वो मिला है, हम खुदाई कर रहे थे, घर बना रहे थे तो ये मिला. सो mostly people are aware about the heritage, but there is a need that this awareness should reach to the far-flung areas also. Yes. Because these ancient routes were going across these terrains and there were stopovers, and these stopovers were actually the archaeological settlement sites for the people. So मेरा जो पर्सनल नज़रिया ये है कि लोगों को इस चीज़ की जागृति दी जाए कि नहीं जी, ये हमारी विरासत है, ये हमारी, डिस्पाइट द religion, whatever religion it belongs to.
Yes, yes.
It is Buddhism, Hinduism, whatever it is. It is ours at the end. We do not believe that I am from the Muslim community and my heritage is only the Muslim heritage.
Yes, sir.
I believe that whatever my ancestry from the very beginning in the Kashmir, जो उन्होंने छोड़ा है पीछे, that's my विरासत, that's my heritage. So I need to, and we should in fact across the Kashmir Valley try to preserve that.
हेरिटेज टूरिज्म के बारे में आपकी क्या राय है कि कोई स्कोप है कि अगर हेरिटेज टूरिज्म को बढ़ावा दिया जाए?
There is a very important archaeological sites across the Kashmir.
Yes.
खासकर अगर आप श्रीनगर में ही देखें, because now the tourism, in fact the tourist and the tourism definition have changed across the globe. People will not go anywhere just see the green landscape, and they want to go and feel the culture of the people. So our government should try to take this up. The heritage tourism is one of the important aspects of tourism nowadays. See, मैं जाना चाहता हूँ, for example I'll go to Cambodia, I'll go to Egypt, I'll go to why I want to go? I want to see the pyramids.
Yeah.
Right. I want to see the huge temples in Cambodia.
Heritage.
Yeah, heritage. I want to know about the culture of the people.
Right.
I'll go to Central Asia, Uzbekistan, Tajikistan, many other regions, just to look about the culture of the people.
Yes.
Similar is the case with Kashmir. We have huge number of archaeological
So we
sites.
have potential.
We have a great potential for heritage tourism, and particularly the pilgrimage tourism also. We have a potential for that.
Okay.
So if you see, अगर आप श्रीनगर की ही बात करें, जो डल के अराउंड जो कॉरिडोर है, इट्स वेरी रिच इन हेरिटेज. यू हैव अ मेडिवल साइट, यू हैव आप मान के चलिए आपके पास मुगल गार्डन्स है, लाखों लोग साल भर वहाँ आते हैं जाते हैं. बट हमारी हालत हेरिटेज की ये है कश्मीर में कि बगल में ही आपकी न्यूलिथिक साइट है, विच इज़ वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट आर्कियोलॉजिकल साइट, बुर्ज़होम. कोई वहाँ नहीं जाता है.
Restrictions होंगी शायद?
नहीं है. No restrictions.
Okay.
Archaeological sites across India are open for visitors. There are no restrictions. So हम उसको promote नहीं कर रहे हैं उस level पे. Right. That's why I believe that there is a time that these sites need to be taken up from the heritage perspective. अगर लाखों लोग साल भर आपके यहाँ निशात में जाते हैं, मुगल गार्डन्स में जाते हैं, परी महल में जाते हैं, टुलिप गार्डन्स में जाते हैं. नेक्स्ट टू दैट यू हैव वन ऑफ द रिचेस्ट.
ये राउंड द ईयर रहेगा, इसमें कोई टुलिप गार्डन 40 दिन के लिए रहेगा.
Exactly. You have one of the richest internationally recognized site of Burzahom. Why do people don't go there? They go next to the sites to the Burzahom.
Yes.
But they don't go to the Burzahom. We need to take this up. Government should take this up.
Take an initiative.
Archaeological Survey of India should take the initiative that the site should be re-excavated, and whatever material is getting from the site, we are getting through the excavations, that should be placed in a sort of an site museum should be built over there.
तो ये तो हर जगह पर बनाए जा सकते हैं ना.
Exactly.
हर जगह पे बनाए जा सकते हैं.
हर जगह पे बनाने का उसमें बहुत सारा पैसा भी लगता है, but at least major sites पे बनना चाहिए.
Sites पे, yeah.
You see across India you have site museums,
Yes.
but in Jammu and Kashmir you don't have a single site museum.
Okay.
So the archaeological sites need to be promoted from that perspective as well. The whole area around the Dal is a heritage area. People, खासकर अगर देखा जाए, एक हेरिटेज कॉरिडोर बनाया जा सकता है.
Yeah.
इस होल एरिया को. you have Neolithic.
मुल्क में बाकी जगहों पर भी मैंने देखा है एक कल्चर स्टार्ट हुआ है कि हेरिटेज वॉक पे जाते हैं.
Exactly.
We can have heritage
we do
corridor
have
here.
such heritage walks in Kashmir, but those are confined to the areas of the downtown and all that. See, for the Dal around area, heritage corridor would work like anything. For example, you have the earliest evidence of the human presence in Kashmir from Burzahom. You have the second earliest evidence of the Buddhism in the shape of Harvan monastery around. You have the medieval presence of the Pari Mahal. You have the Mughal gardens. And many across.
Yeah.
I mean, you have a couple of temples around the area which could be promoted as for this heritage tourism purpose. So we need to think from that perspective, and this is very important, and this should be taken up by the government.
सो अभी जैनपुरा की एक्सकेवेशन चल रही हैं, उसमें नेक्स्ट फेज में आप क्या करने वाले हैं?
एज आई सेड दैट हमने जो पूरा मैपिंग किया है साइट का विल बी डिसाइडिंग ऑन दैट बेसिस वायर टू
जी।
एक्सक्वेट. सो हमने कुछ एरियाज आइडेंटिफाई किए हैं. विल पुट एक्सक्वेशंस ओवर दैट.
जैनपुरा या अक्रॉस द कश्मीर?
No, Zehanpora particular
अच्छा
site.
अच्छा,
We'll be
ओके
focusing for coming 1-2 years on Zehanpora,
ओके।
hopefully.
और कोई एक्सकेवेशंस नहीं हो जाएंगे इस
It's
पीरियड में?
very tiresome. You can do one at a time.
जी
So
जी।
that's if there are other people involved in excavation, they can take up other sites as well. It's not necessary, but one person can take for one season only one site, and we are trying to focus on Zehanpora in the future as well.
सो ड्यूरिंग द कन्वर्सेशन आपने एक जगह बात की थी कि मैन पावर की कमी रही है एंड उसको आप कंपनसेट करने की कोशिश कर रहे हैं. जो जम्मू कश्मीर के स्टूडेंट्स हैं जो अभी पढ़ाई कर रहे हैं और कुछ का ख्वाब है कि अपना करियर आर्कियोलॉजी में ही बनाएं, उनके लिए क्या कहना चाहेंगे आप कि कैसी अपॉर्चुनिटीज़ हैं उनके लिए? और
I would say that this is very interesting field.
जी
Nowadays, students choose the field where there is adventure, there
या
is, exploration,
यस यस
you go expedition. This is in a way that way it's a very important field. We go
अपॉर्चुनिटीज़ है क्या?
अपॉर्चुनिटीज़ भी है और मेरे ख्याल में आगे और अपॉर्चुनिटीज़ आएंगी बिकॉज at least in Kashmir Valley probably in coming years this archaeology would be introduced. Probably I am hopeful that it should be introduced in the higher education
Okay.
as well as in the 10 plus 2 level.
Okay.
So once that is done there will be more opportunities.
Yeah.
But filal there are opportunities in the state archaeology department and there are opportunities in archaeological survey of India. Central government, and there are multiple organizations working on heritage, like INTAC is there and many other organizations who recruit the students from archaeology background
Okay.
to do the work. And sort of, if I should be very precise, that the Kashmir archaeology is a virgin area in a way. So the more we go into it, the more possibilities of jobs and the more possibilities of other things in terms of manpower and other things will be developed. हमने पिछले कई सालों से कुछ ऐसे लड़कों को ट्रेन किया है from different institutions across the globe. We have trained them for the drone mapping. We have trained them for the laser scanning, 3D modeling. We have trained them for the ceramic analysis from different institutions. They have got trained from across India, a couple of institutions. So in a way हमारी एक टीम बन रही है. So we are developing it that way. It will take little time, but if there is a good support from the government side, from the institutional backing होगा, so अच्छा ही होगा इंशाल्लाह आगे.
शुक्रिया डॉक्टर अजमल साहब अपना वक्त देने के लिए और कश्मीर की आर्कियोलॉजी को हमें गहराई से समझाने के लिए. हमने बात की इसमें बुरज़ामा साइट की, जो भी कश्मीर की प्रोमिनेंट साइट्स या जैनपुरा है, बुरज़ामा है, गुफक्राल है, परियासपोरा है, उन सब के बारे में आपने हमें बहुत डिटेल में जानकारी दी. उसके लिए बहुत बहुत शुक्रिया और उम्मीद करते हैं कि जो हमारे देखने वाले हैं उनको भी ये जानकारी अच्छी लगे और अपने बाकी लोगों के साथ भी वो इस इंफॉर्मेशन को ज़रूर शेयर करें.